All right, welcome. Today we're going to be doing the review of the recently released Netflix documentary called The Redeem Team, tells the tale of the 2008 Olympic men's basketball team. Joining us today, we got Jake, otherwise known Jake from Bake Farm. Thank you for joining today, Jake. How's it been, man?
Man, it's great. Thank you for having me as always, man. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate it always. I really appreciate talking to you all the time, especially about sports. We can talk about sports for it seems like days upon years, it seems like.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, this is why I wanted to bring you on. You're the one who recommended the movie to me, and I said as soon as I got done watching, I said we need to do an episode on this. So I wouldn't want anybody else on the show other than you and a couple other people who know basketball, but for sure you. So I'll let you take the reins, man, on what you were thinking about it.
Um I guess the way I think we could go about it is kind of just how it played out from the start to finish. My first how it started out, starting with the '04 team. And, it was directed by LeBron and D Wade. You could really tell that from the start, which I liked it, of course, but my main question was why was there no Tim Duncan in any of it? I just kind of wondered that because it just kind of left everybody with the question like what happened with that '04 team? Like was it really Larry Brown and the coach? Was it really the system? Was basically the question I was really asking myself was the '04 team set up for failure from the start is my question. I I wondered if it was leadership or when I looked at the roster, they didn't really seem like they had an actual point guard. And I think, in Olympic play is I don't know if it's just me. Olympic play is totally different from NBA. I mean, I don't know if I'm wrong on that. What do you think on that?
I think you're actually 100% right because I mean, they were even talking about it, how the rules are different, how, you can hit the ball if it's above the cylinder, and then the cutting and stuff like that, like definitely different stuff, and how, especially how a lot of the European countries, their offense is point guard oriented, and, most of their offense runs through it, and like you said, they really didn't have a pure point guard. Like Marbury was probably more of a two, more like a solo two if you want to go at it like that. And AI, traditionally he was a two. I mean, he played his
Yeah,
best basketball
traditionally a
as a one,
two.
but
Richard Jefferson, that's a two guard, basically a small forward.
hmm
Um, they had Dwayne Wade, another two, but they really didn't have like that traditional point guard, somebody that could, facilitate and set the offense, I guess, is where I'm getting at. Because they got ran off the court by Argentina. Argentina played team basketball. It just led to the quote that I wrote down. Oh, where did I have it? In terms of individual players, they're the best team, but this is a team sport. You're not playing one on one. You're playing 5 on 5. This isn't tennis.
yes, that
That's
that quote
that's a
that hit me
very it's
pretty that hit me pretty strong
yeah,
with that
that hit
quote.
very big. It hit very big, and it's very true about Olympic play.
Yeah, man.
All
I
the teams
mean,
that go out there, they you can tell that they play a certain type of way, and they've been playing that way.
I think a big problem with it is, like you said, they didn't have a true point guard, and I think you can agree with me. I found it like very, very refreshing to hear LeBron say, "I don't think I earned my spot on that team." You know?
Exactly. Hearing that, I was and you could tell, like, even D Wade and Carmelo, you could tell, like, they were shocked when they were saying that they got that call, and then, they're like, "Okay, you gotta be here in 2 weeks." A young guy after your first season, just like they said, you got no idea what the hell you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, man. I When I saw that, I was kind of shocked. Especially watching this 2022. We know LeBron's the greatest player, if not one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Hearing him say, that I don't think I earned that, and like you said about Melo and D Wade, just being shocked that they even got the call. I think that was just really shocking to hear, especially out of LeBron's mouth, especially from what we know what happens in the future with his career. And then I mean, we know what they talked about is those European and South American teams and like Argentina, they played for years together, and this team was just kind of put together based off talent, and the age gap was real. You have Tim Duncan drafted, I think, in like 1998 or 99, 97, AI in 96, Marbury 96, like big age gap, and then you have the '03 draft class, just big age gap in there, and then you mentioned Larry Brown earlier, kind of being the head coach and orchestrating everything. He just won a championship with the Detroit Pistons, finally beating the Shaq and Kobe Lakers, and you thought
Hmm.
that I mean, maybe at the time they thought he was the man to kind of put all those personalities and keep it together. But I think maybe just what didn't work with that team is no pure point guard and just the young players mixed in with the older veterans, and the young players really not getting too much playing time.
Exactly. The young players not getting much playing time, and I I think the other thing was, at the time, like the terrorist threats at that time going on, and then all of the players that actually pulled out, thinking of all the players that actually pulled out, like I actually have the list right here.
Oh, let's hear
Ray
this.
Allen, Mike Bibby, Elton Brand, Kobe Bryant, Vince Carter, Kevin Garnett, Jason Kidd, Carl 12-year-old Malone, Kenyon Martin, Tracy McGrady, Jermaine O'Neal, and Shaquille O'Neal. Now,
Wow.
if Bron and if you can cut 3 of those guys out of there and you still put those guys on Team USA, they're bringing home the gold, let's be honest. They don't
Yeah, I
even
mean,
need
I didn't.
LeBron, Wade, and Melo if they have any of the if they really have almost 3 to 4 of those guys, I think they bring home gold.
I actually did not know like all those players that opted out, and holy cow, thank you
Yeah,
for providing that list. And that is a shit ton of excellent, great Hall of Fame talent they didn't get to play. Just off the top of my head, what you said, Ray Allen, Shaq, KG. I mean, damn, that's a lot
Tracy
of talent.
McGrady, Kobe,
Kobe.
Vince, and this is, in '04. This is, young Vince Carter, young Tracy McGrady, like, young Ray Allen, like, there was nobody that was gonna beat that.
No, that
Like,
is honestly shocking about how many players opted out. And you mentioned about them kind of being, separated, back at the time, 2004, all the war in Iraq going on, terrorist attacks and all that. And I didn't know that. When I watched that yesterday, I didn't realize that they were on this just cruise ship and that they didn't really get the true Olympic experience. And that has to that has to affect you mentally at some point a little bit, right?
I actually, in all honesty, you almost read word for word my notes. I had the same exact thing. I did not know that, and I thought the same thing. That has to, like, not just I mean, mentally, like, that's a big thing because 'cause you're not getting that real Olympic experience, and then, you just kinda feel, like, segregated from everything. It's like, "Okay, show up, do this, okay, go back to your room." Kinda like the whole, like, shut up and dribble kinda
Hmm.
aspect a little bit. So I could totally kinda get some scrutiny and getting that feeling of like, "Man, fuck this."
Yeah. And then after that whole experience went down, another thing that really shocked me that I have written down here is LeBron saying he didn't want to do that shit anymore. And that was like, damn. I was
I
shocked that he said that.
I was very surprised when I heard that too, but then I think that also goes on to something he said later on where he likes a head coach that holds everybody accountable, and
Exactly,
I
exactly,
think
man.
that was probably the problem with Larry Brown. I think he was one coming in, "Okay, I just won a championship and coach of the year, but it's just my first. These guys are, I got Tim Duncan, Allen Iverson, these veterans that are, solidified themselves already in the league. Everybody knows them. I think it was just kind of a respect thing. I don't think all the players had respect for him. Um, it just even looking at the roster itself, I don't understand who handpicked it. I definitely can get the whole fork being thrown in your plan after you if you had the list of the 9 players we listed off, I mean, and then you also tell me I've got LeBron, Kobe, and D Wade, or LeBron, Melo, and D Wade to pick from on top of all them. I mean, it's pretty hard to not pick a gold medal team from all those players. But that list of players, you take all them away, yeah, it's almost very hard to kind of win with
Yeah, no,
what
I
they were
mean,
given. I mean, that was just that team. Just I don't understand where somebody said it was okay to go forward with that team.
I think this will be a good transition to this next topic I want to talk about. You mentioned Coach K and how Larry Brown really wasn't holding anybody accountable, and how they ended up getting Jerry Colangelo to run it. And after how I think he ran the Phoenix Suns, they talked about in the documentary and a couple other franchises, but how everything he ran through worked. But he was the one, I believe, that picked Coach K to do this. And
Yeah,
this would be a good transition here. Coach K, man, like the he set the standard, and then hearing LeBron, I'm just LeBron has so many good quotes in this, but he
very,
said
very
being an
many.
inner city kid, seeing Coach K, he says you hate Christian Leitner, you hate Coach K, you hate that damn Blue Devil, like how he was able to kind of hold everybody accountable, motivate, and still hold be that guy, be the good coach from going to a college level. He even said so that this isn't college, this isn't NBA, this is Team USA. It's a whole different. This is a world sport. You know, and I thought he did really good putting the team together and holding everyone accountable. I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on the whole Coach K hiring and how it worked because he actually was the coach for a lot of years until very recently, until this last Olympics where Coach Pop took over. But kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on the whole Coach K aspect of it.
It's it's definitely very sad to not see him as coach of Team USA that you mentioned that, and just like this year being his last year in collegiate. I mean, it's just so sad. But what the man has done, it's just amazing. And just going back to just a little bit on the GM, I had it written down, picking the right guy to be at the top GM, and he wanted to handpick all the coaches and the players. And I think that's how you have to start every team. If you want it to be a well-functioning team, like you want a well-functioning car, if you go buy a car, you don't want something that's going to break down on you 2,000 miles down the road, right?
True.
So
True.
so if I put together a team, I don't want it to fall apart in the second round. I want it to go all the way. So he wants to handpick it, handpick the right people for every little thing. I think it was perfect. And starting with Coach K, it's perfect because the leadership and just changing the whole meaning to Team USA in basketball and how Team USA basketball is played. Like he said, you got to respect the game because basketball is the world's game. I thought that was it was very, very good. Very great quote. And just coming in and setting the tone and starting it as like just being open, being honest, but also having that freedom of being yourself. Like just be yourself. We're professionals here, be professional. We're going to be open. If there's a problem, we have a problem. You could tell that he was like he's got the military background, so he's obviously like that. If we have a if there's a problem on the team has a problem. It's not one person has a problem, the whole team does. It's I think that's very, very great just to get your team to realize that, and then just the openness and kind of family feel. I think that's what makes a team cohere together and mesh so well. I think that's something he brings, and that's what we see all the time. I mean, look at Duke year in and year out. They have a bad year, and then they come back the next year and make a deep run. It definitely shows to his leadership.
I agree
I think it was a
100%.
perfect choice.
I agree 100%, man. And you mentioned the military background. Like, I think that was really key and kind of, he'd mentioned how he wanted everyone to deflate their egos when they joined, and I think him having that military experience, being a coach for so long, he's the master at being able to make players deflate their egos. And I thought that was a really cool touch. I like what you mentioned earlier about how when he first started, he wanted everybody to be open, wanted them to be honest, and how he was saying you're not playing for or you're not playing for the Miami Heat, you're not playing for the Nuggets, you're not playing for the Cavaliers, you're playing for Team USA, and also him having that team or that military background and him using, you know, in the practices they showed him showing them the Marvin Gaye national anthem. I thought that one was killer, awesome
Amazing.
motivation.
I did not that was one thing I did not know, and I honestly myself, I went on YouTube and found that video and gave it a like and have it actually saved because I very, very much like that.
You
And
can't listen to any other version now.
right, it's almost like there's no other version you can listen to. And,
um,
the stories with the former guy as well, that was very, very touching. I thought that was very, very great of him to get the players, like, of that stature, you're millionaires, you're professional athletes, but these are the people that put their lives on the line every day, and this is what they have to live with for standing up for our freedom so you guys can be as great of basketball players as you are, and I think that was very great of him to open their eyes and say, "This is how it is. This is who's standing up for your freedom and you to be able and go out and have the grace to go out and get paid millions of dollars just to dribble a ball. These people are fighting for your freedom." And I thought that was very, very great to have that not only shown, but it was to see all the players' reactions and D Wade talking in the mic to the guy. It was very awesome. I thought.
I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was really touching too, and I think it was a really good humbling experience for them to kind of see that, like you mentioned, you guys are self-made millionaires, got talent, got all of this, got the glitz and glamour, but him having that military background, bringing in the veterans, the wounded veterans, I would add, just to show them, hey, you guys get to play the greatest sport in the world, and you get to, but it comes at a price. These guys are the real heroes, and I really liked how they mentioned, these guys are the real heroes, and seeing,
Hmm.
D Wade and LeBron, Chris Bosh, and all them just kind of, seeing them grateful, and it touched them. You could see in the movie that it touched them, and I thought that was a really really good ad in the documentary, and good move by Coach K as motivation, man. I mean, I thought it got me getting choked up a little bit, so that was a really good move, man.
Same here. I think that's even what brought them like more together and like where you've seen like the players like when they finally did go to Beijing, where you actually seen the players going to other events and everything, and actually being able to be a part of the Olympics and having that just Team USA feel. Because if when you're at Beijing, the way I see it, whether you're track and field, a swimmer, a women's basketball player, a tennis player, volleyball, we're all Team USA. We're all a part of the same team. We might not play the same sport, but god damn it, we're the same team.
Amen on
And I
that.
think that was great seeing them like going and supporting, their the other athletes there. I thought that was great. And I think that was a part of Coach K kind of bringing that in and kind of opening their eyes a little bit.
Perfect, perfect. I think that was a good touch on Coach K. Thought he was the great pick on that. I'll let you kind of pick a topic that you really liked on this next one to transition to the next one.
Um, just one last thing, like you said about putting the egos aside, bringing them in and basically mashing them together in a good way. I did like that. That was another very great thing
Oh
from
yeah.
Coach K. Um, definitely bringing in Kobe. I mean, you could tell, like, when Kobe was brought in, it was okay. Everybody knew, like, we're I feel like it sent that message to all the players, like, "We're done fucking around." Like, GMs are done fucking around, the coaches are done fucking around, and just like Kobe said, "I'm done watching y'all fucking lose."
Literally, that
I
is literally, that would be a Kobe quote. If you didn't know that was Kobe, that'd be a Kobe quote.
I thought the greatest thing about him was as soon as he came in, the question was, is Kobe gonna be able to leave his ego at the door? Is he gonna be able to be a team player? I mean, and he obviously did. I mean, just watching his Olympic highlights, he's a totally different Kobe Bryant than what NBA Kobe Bryant is, and I think it's amazing because this it's the same could almost be said for LeBron because that whole time, just like it arose in the movie, who's the alpha on the team? Who's taking the last shot? And at that time, in 2008 was definitely that year where everybody was arguing Kobe, LeBron, Kobe, LeBron, Kobe, LeBron.
I'm glad you
I,
mentioned this because I know you would remember this, and I actually have this written down in my notes. The Kobe versus LeBron debate, and then the 2008 just nostalgia rewatching this because I know you remember. We're old enough to remember just seeing the commercials, the Nike commercials, between Kobe and LeBron, and who was better, and that was a legit debate, and it still carries on to this day. There's still some. I mean, LeBron for sure has definitely elevated, and like I said, he's if not the greatest player of all time, second or third. But like this debate in 2008 was legit, and when they brought in Kobe, like you mentioned, Coach K, Kobe was the veteran, which is crazy to think. He was the vet leading this team, and I like how
hmm
you mentioned when they brought him in, everything changed. Everything changed. They knew that this was the guy that's going to really hold us accountable because as great as LeBron is, he was just very young at the time. I mean, he was only like 4 years in the league at that point, but still, one of the best players in the world. But Kobe was
hmm
that guy already. He was already proven. And I thought just rewatching this, man, the nostalgia. I mean, did that hit you at all? Like rewatching, like, damn, I remember this debate back in the day, and we got robbed of that finals matchup between Kobe and LeBron in 2009. But damn, man, what a nostalgia trip. Am I right?
Big time. I mean, I was sitting here talking to my friend Kobe about it because it just takes me back to that year. I mean, he's one of my guys that I always talk basketball with. I remember sitting in this very room where I'm actually at right now, where I'm at now. I was watching I remember watching Team USA, waking up early in the morning to watch them one time, in the afternoons, sometimes at, like, 10:30 in the morning. There'd be those weird games that start at, like, 10:30 at night, almost like 2 a.m. because, they're all the way over there.
Yep.
I just I remember watching every game because it was like, this team is when it was put together, as kids, we see this team, we're like, "Oh my gosh, this is our dream team. Like, this is
Hmm.
the team that you put together." If you hop on NBA as a kid and you wanna make the best team, probably you have at least 4 or 5, almost the whole starting lineup. If not, you have at least 6 of the players on Team USA on your team, and it's like, we're gonna actually get to see these guys play together. Like, we finally get to see what an unfair fucking team is really gonna do to an actual team on an NBA or a basketball court.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
I
a pure nostalgia trip, man, and I
Gosh, it was oh,
it's just,
just getting tears
even
thinking about it.
yeah, yeah, even, rewatching it, um, how they mentioned like this is a debate that's going on in every barber shop at the time, and at the time, this was a legit debate, and like I said, for a lot of people, it still is a debate. Um, I personally, I think LeBron is for sure like will go down as probably the GOAT, if not like second GOAT behind MJ. But like it's still like it's always going to be Kobe, LeBron, MJ. It's always going to be them three in the same conversation. And just seeing that at the time, you know how everyone was worried with Kobe, could he work with these guys? And LeBron, being not even in his prime yet, which is the scary thing. Not even in his prime yet. This wasn't even peak Braun, and how
I think he
everyone was
was just, like,
worried.
scratching the start of his prime. I think the Olympic play kinda started the scratch of it
Yep.
'cause it started it, and then that's when, the 2012 that's where I say at the end of it, we need one more. We need one on the 2012 team because that
Yep.
team was stacked. I
Yep.
mean, that team I need after this, I was like, I want something double the length on the 2012 team because that team I remember waking up for every game for.
Yes, sir.
Just like this
Yes, sir.
2008 team, I mean, it totally took me back to just oh my gosh, all the highlight plays and then just, guy like oh my gosh, Darren Williams coming off the bench with CP and D Wade. I mean, I remember that. The game where right at the end, Bron and Kobe got 2 fouls each, and in Olympic play, it's 5 fouls and you're out. It's not six. I mean, that was something that was totally new to me as a kid. I
Yeah,
mean, I'd
yeah.
be only 12 years old at the time.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
I was watching that and then they mentioned like you get 5 fouls and you're done, not six. And I said, damn, that's a big change up too, and my final notes on this Kobe slash LeBron transition is, man, like they just meshed so well. You'd think that Kobe being the established veteran, and then LeBron, like you said, just starting to scratch his prime, those egos got to be ready to explode. But damn, it worked so well, and it didn't seem
it
like they had
was
any
it was
problems.
amazing to see.
And this is why, like, going on in the future, this is why LeBron succeeded, man. He was okay with doing his thing. This is why he's always able to mesh with whether it's D Wade, Kyrie, AD. He's been able to mesh, and he's always going to be the one, but he knows when to sacrifice. And like, I thought it worked so well, man. And in the documentary, they mentioned how LeBron was the verbal guy, and Kobe was the guy who didn't say anything. And the play style they were so good together when it really could have spiraled out of control, but it worked so damn well, and it really couldn't have been done with any two other superstars, I don't think.
I don't I totally agree to that. I don't think it coulda worked with anybody else. Um, Definitely the one thing to go back to, I think, like, how it meshed so well together, being one LeBron's verbal, Kobe's not. I think that's why it totally meshed. I think if Bron had that mentality like Kobe and they were both kinda that quiet, I think it woulda just been a dumpster fire from the start. But no, if they were both verbal, that's definitely another good I feel like being more verbal is a good thing. But then again, like with the Draymond Green Jordan Poole situation, I mean, it wasn't too good to be verbal there, but
Holy shit, yeah.
um,
That is definitely a topic for a different day, but for sure,
totally.
definitely that's a good
I
transition.
I think the other thing too, I don't think it could have spiraled out of control with Coach K. I think if there was a problem from the start with it, I think he would have pulled both of them guys aside and been like, "This is what it is. This is the problem. What are we gonna do to fix it?" And it would have been one of those closed door, open door conversations, between the three of them. We're gonna air this shit out. We're gonna find out what this is, find out the problem, address it, and we're gonna figure it out. I think that's what goes right to Coach K's leadership again. I mean, that was one of the very big things I've loved about this was definitely taking a whole lot from just the leadership of so many guys, Kobe, Coach K, Bron. I mean, Chris Paul and D Wade coming off the bench and just being able to, like accept that role and get behind it. I don't know the word I'm actually trying to think of here, but being motivated. Like I'm coming off the bench, like that's fine. Like Chris Bosh said, I found myself being more of a defender, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what he was. I mean, that totally changed Chris Bosh's game. I mean, everybody thought he's a scorer, a stretch big, and then he starts playing amazing, great defense on Team USA, and that was it. Just goes to like Coach K said, we've got all these stars but we're going to be a team. We're going to mesh our egos together. So it went back to Chris Paul and D Wade saying, if he's got 12, he's got 11, he's got 10, he's got 15, who cares? We're all winning. That's what you need in a team. And I think that's what it goes from Team USA to NBA ball. I think that's the way NBA teams need to run their team.
I agree 100%, man, because you hit it right on the nail with you made a good point how I don't think this team would have spiraled out of control with Coach K out of control or in control, and how he taught them the fundamentals of team basketball. And like you said, because if you want to be the best in the world, you have to play as a team. You can be good individually, but if it's not going to do you any good in a game if you're not playing as a team.
I had another quote. I wrote this one down, and I want to write this on my wall right in front of me. If we learn their game, we will beat them.
I remember that one.
That
That was
is
a good quote.
very, very true in whatever aspect, like whatever sporting aspect. That is totally true. Whatever kind of aspect, if you're gonna learn their game, learn their moves, you're gonna beat them.
I mean,
That's
couldn't have said it.
very
Couldn't have
good.
said it any better.
I love
Any better.
also the whole knowing how to strike their nerve before a game, before that Manu Ginobili game.
Yes, I think this is actually a good transition. This is one of the things I wanted to talk about. It was the mind games behind them, and you brought up the Argentina game. If you want to kind of go off a little bit on that and on what you picked up, I got a little bit of notes too. But take the reins on this one.
I expected I was sad Manu got hurt that game. I really, really was. It sucked, but how Argentina was able to fight back after that, I thought it was definitely mind blowing because that team, was like, we lost our best player. Whatever. What'd they do? They went on a 27 to like 12 run against the greatest players who are on the planet right now, and nobody saw that coming. I think it's just great to be able to see just team basketball. That's what I love about Olympic ball. If you're going out there and playing the right way, it's going to show, and that's what showed right there in that Argentina game. I mean, going back to Coach K striking the right nerve with the quote before the game, I think that was is very great, knowing how to strike D Wade and Kobe's nerve right there with the Manu Ginobili, number 2 shooting guard in the league. I had a very good laugh at that one. And then for the one for Kobe saying Manu Ginobili, the best two-way guard, I honestly I laughed out loud very, very, very loud at myself. Like I thought that was very comical, but just as a head coach, I mean, even if I was an owner of a team, that would definitely be the guy who I want to rally my players because that's basically getting your players ready for war. You want them ready to go. You want them at their best. I mean, you find that thing to strike that nerve in somebody. If you can find that nerve to set them off, that's how you bring out the best of people. And I think that's something Coach K is very great at, and he just knew how to bring out the best of all his players. And I think that's what helped him in that Argentina game.
I like how you brought that up because I listen. Like I love Manu. I'm a Spurs fan, as you know. Love him to death. Always going to be one of my favorite players, but I can't believe that was those were actual articles being written at the time. Like everyone knew Kobe was the unanimous best too, but there was people that really had Manu over D Wade, which is a little crazy to me. I mean, like I said, I'm the biggest Manu supporter out there, but I guess you could say maybe because he was like at his peak, winning Sixth Man of the Year awards, doing his thing. But Dwayne Wade had already gotten a Finals MVP. He was still doing his thing. Was just on a couple bad years with the same team, but I mean, I couldn't believe that was a debate back then.
I I was very, very shocked too when I heard some. I thought it was very, very comical, but at at the time back then, social media wasn't as big of a thing. So some of the, as Nick Saban calls it, rat poison that floats around the media all the time. I guess some of it might not have. been filtered out like that. So
I really
I
like how
think it was great though.
I like how you mentioned about Argentina and how they went on that run. So I was watching this with my girlfriend, right? And when they showed the part where Manu went down and Argentina had that motivational boost and momentum going, she was kind of confused a little bit. She was like, they lost their best player. Wouldn't you think they'd be losing? You know, and I was explaining to her, like, and I know you can attest to this, like, as a fan and as a player, but I mean, we're fans. You don't feel good if you're winning against a team that's full strength. That's not full strength.
Mhm.
It just doesn't feel right.
Exactly. You don't feel like you actually won because you're not taking them out when they're at their best because I just think from a competitive standpoint, as a true competitor, you want your opponent at your best because you're at your best, and you're going to be giving them your best the whole time, and that means I want
Exactly.
your best.
And I had mentioned that to her, and I had mentioned, like, you know, she was like, "Well, that doesn't really make sense." How, and I explained to her how, you know, they planned, and I like how you mentioned that Coach K used the motivation with Manu for Kobe and D Wade. Well, when you plan for Manu and then he goes down, that is, you got to change your whole game plan. He's a distributor,
Hmm.
great passer, great scorer at the time, but when you lose your best player and when you lose Manu, you got to change your whole game plan. And I think that really shocked them and took them by surprise. And it was really good seeing that happen and hearing them say, you know, we don't want to beat them if they weren't at full strength. That was really refreshing to hear, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was great to hear him say that because it just showed that fieriness and being a true competitor, and wanting to you won, but we don't feel like we really won because they weren't full strength. I
Yeah, I
think.
thought it was a good adjustment that Coach K made, especially holding off that run. Just really, really, really cool transition. And I mean, they proved him wrong. I still think they beat that if Manu plays, but um, you know, I think this team was destined to win. So, but it still
Mhm.
sucks that you know it wasn't a full strength game. But I mean, Argentina, man, they played their asses off and they gave Team USA fit. So props to them on that one.
Big time. Big props to them. I
Um,
mean, it just goes to, the gold medal game like Spain. I mean, just to think how close that gold medal game was versus the first game we played against Spain. We won 119 to like 82. I
so
mean,
this is
just
perfect.
completely obliterated them the first game.
This is
And
actually,
then,
I figured this is where we were going. We're kind of making our way towards the documentary, and that's the next thing I have is the Spain games you mentioned. That first game, man. So I got to hear your reaction on this. I got to Kobe knowing what play they were going to run, and you already know where I'm going with
gosh.
this. Just running through Paul Gasol's chest, and I explained to my girlfriend how Paul Gasol was Kobe's teammate on the Lakers back then. And they're brothers, and you know Paul is still active in the Bryant's family right now, and you know they're
Yep,
brothers.
Godfather, like
Yeah,
literal brothers.
and that took her by surprise, and dude, it took me by surprise because I don't remember seeing that clip of him just
I
running through Paul Gasol's chest.
it's crazy because I do remember watching that game. That game was, I mean, it was all Team USA. You could tell from the start that we were gonna blow them out from the start, and we just had a whole extra step. That game was all Team USA. It was amazing showing by everybody, and you could tell from the start him doing that. That's what set the tone to everybody, and I think that's what brought the best out of everybody. I thought that first game against Spain, I think that was the best game that that team played altogether.
I
I thought it
agree
was just
100%.
very, very perfect. Going back and rewatching the highlights and just rewatching that whole game, I thought they played almost almost a perfect game. There was definitely like you almost can't play a perfect game because it's basketball. The other team is going to score, but in the aspect of how bad we kicked their ass in the score department, I mean, it was a very, very great day, great showing. I mean, if there was any way to say how I want Team USA to play, I'm pointing to that game right there every time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And we were talking about the mind games that they used for Manu in the Argentina game, and I think you said it best. They set the tone in this game, played the best game I think they played as a team in that game, and I even liked how I think it was D Wade and Melo and LeBron. They didn't buy it. They weren't. They saw. They were like, "You're not gonna do that to your teammate." And Kobe said, "Fuck that. I'm gonna do it." And dude, to start the game like that, set the tone, and I really think that really hit him. That really hit him mentally, and I think that's why they beat him down so bad in that game.
I love how it also showed his mind games, his IQ, knowing what play they were gonna run off the rip, calling it, saying, "This is what they're gonna do. He's gonna be the last screen. I'm running through his fucking chest. You ain't gonna do that, motherfucker. Watch this." And then he did it, and you see you see the reactions there. I mean, I had the same reaction. Oh shit!
That
It
was
was
pretty
like,
epic.
man, he just did that to his own teammate. No, he's not my teammate. Fuck him. Get up.
And Paul Gasol, man, he's a big
Um,
guy, man. And Kobe being
he's
a
a
two
big
guard,
guy.
but Kobe was ripped, man. Like he wasn't scared to
Yeah.
take that, and he knocked him on his ass. Watching that, like
Oh, he. Whew.
it was shocking. Like watching that last night, it took me and my girlfriend by surprise. We were like, "Whoa!" Because like I said, I hadn't seen that clip, and she didn't either. She was like, "I'm uncomfortable." I said, "Yeah, that's hard to watch, especially considering they're brothers." But this is a whole different league, man.
Big time. Like the way Pau Gasol described it. Like if you weren't if I was blind and he was describing it, I would have thought that Kobe put his shoulder straight in between all of his ribs and almost hit his spine out of his back.
Holy cow!
I
Exactly,
mean
man.
that that was just he got him square in the chest. I thought it was a great tone center. I mean, he set the tone right there. Like we're winning this game. This is how it is.
That was great. You mentioned that was the best game you watched them play, and I like how for the gold medal game, they had to go through each other again, and I thought that was a real test. You had NBA players on both sides, both teams. Very good to see. And man, that game was close. I watched the highlights for that game, and I remember a couple years ago watching just a replay of it, and LeBron even saying that was one of the best games ever played. Like, amen to that, man. Like, that was a hell of a
I
game.
mean, Spain did not go away, and even just like the quotes were saying, these motherfuckers will not go away. There was no loss of fight in Spain until that final buzzer.
I'm glad you
And
mentioned that quote because I had that written down. I wanted to ask your opinion on it because hearing LeBron say that, just very genuine. You don't hear a great player of LeBron's stature say something like that, but hearing it, it was just like, damn, this Spain team was really good. And looking at the roster, they had the Gasol brothers. Rudy Fernandez was going crazy, and when I was watching it, I did not realize they had a baby Ricky Rubio on the team, or at least I'm pretty sure that was
I
Rubio.
it was Ricky Rubio. There was at one point the it was Mike Breen said, "I'll pass by Rubio," and I paused it and I rewound it. I said, "Did he say Rubio?" And I'm like, watch it again, and it was a young Ricky Rubio, and I'm like, man, Ricky Rubio is low key kind of the man that kind of started that wave for Luca.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
young guy playing in the Olympics, playing against NBA talent at a young age. I I think it's awesome. That's another thing that I love about Olympic play. It's where we get to see these young international guys like Rudy Fernandez. That man went off that game. I mean, he was shooting like Klay Thompson.
And not only was he
That was
shooting, man, he had a nasty poster. I don't remember on who, but holy shit, I was shocked when I saw
yeah.
the
I mean,
poster.
he had a heck of a game. Powell had a heck of a game. Spain had an amazing. That was honestly, I think, the greatest Olympic game played. That was I was on the edge of my seat. I remember watching it, sitting right here in my room where I'm at, just on the edge of my seat, like, oh my gosh, like, are we gonna go to overtime? Like, they're not going away. Like, they're not gonna go away. Like, if we miss, they're gonna make. Like it was just make after make after make. If one team missed, the other team had to make, and it was like, oh no, like they're a little bit closer now. Now one team makes and gets a stop, and then gets another make. Like, oh, okay, now they're up. It was just the way you want basketball to be played and to watch it. Like that's just whew, something
Exactly.
that's just unmatched.
Exactly, man. And I'm glad you brought up the LeBron quote because I thought it was really cool seeing it from their perspective of, damn, we're facing a team with adversity that just won't stop. Hearing, a lot of people will say the GOAT. Hearing the GOAT say that is just amazing because it just shows you like these guys on another level in other countries, they know the game of basketball too. And like you said, Rudy Fernandez played great. Paul Gasol, man, when they were showing his highlight reel and his plays during the game, I even told my girlfriend, I said, Paul Gasol was so fucking good. So good.
Underrated. I
Underrated,
think
man.
big underrated.
And Ricky Rubio, man, before all his injuries, he was a bucket, man. And still, man, he's
But
still
I
killing,
mean,
still in the
bucket.
league.
I mean, his passing ability. Whew.
Like,
I mean, he was surrounded by shooters. Great. I mean, you give him the Gasol brothers in the post. Oh my gosh, the man doesn't really even need a jumper at that point.
He can just be the straight distributor. A couple things before we get towards the end of this. I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the Kobe side of it. So the whole aura of Kobe and how, we were laughing when we were watching it, how they showed that part where they were clubbing till 4 or 5 in the morning and they get back in the hotel and Kobe is already getting ready to work out. And even Melo was like, nah, bro, that shit's too early for me. But I wanted to hear your thoughts, man, and how they said there was Kobe and then there was the Black Mamba. And he really was built different, man. God rest his soul, but he was different.
It was just that was just him coming in and setting that tone, just saying, okay, like you said, I'm tired of watching y'all lose. Like, okay, I'm tired of watching y'all lose. This is what I'm gonna do to make sure that we're not losing. Y'all can either hop on and follow or keep on doing what you're doing. And obviously, everybody followed suit, except Melo, apparently. But I mean, I guess that could maybe be another topic for another day with the Jordan Poole Draymond situation. But that might be why Melo's not getting a contract extension this year. But back to the Mamba. Uh, that's just he wanted to be great. That's what it was. You hear him say it. I just wanted to be great, and it goes to there was like a YouTube mix I was watching. It showed I think it was like the Book of Kobe. There's like almost 16 videos, and they're like 20 some minutes long. It's definitely a great watch to go through, and each one is like a different quote. Like one's motivation, hard work. There's a bunch of them, and it's just all of his interviews, and just actually listening to like him talk about his motivation, what sets him apart, like what he realized as a youngin, what molded his work ethic to make him change his workouts, and how he goes from, okay, if I wake up at 6, I'm already behind. Whereas if I wake up at 4 and I'm already do my workout at 4:30, then I'm done by 5:30, 6 o'clock. I have breakfast. I'm already an hour and a half ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
I, that's just what he realized, and then he based it out. He's like, I'm gonna do this. Now you're gonna start. I'm gonna start mine too. Now we're the same, and then you're gonna go do this, but I'm still gonna be working out. Like he's molded it all out. His work ethic was just so crazy, and hearing him talk about his work ethic, that's just I think it's what totally sets him apart from everybody, and that's what molded that Mamba mentality, was just how he found his work ethic, or his work, his drive, something that drives him just to want to be the best. Okay, I got to put in hard work. Okay, I want to put in hard work. I got to wake up at this time. I got to work here, now to now, eat, relax, get my body right. Just accepting everything and accepting all the bumps in the road to be great. I think that was something that was very, very touching.
I couldn't have said it better myself, bro. I mean, and then how he set the tone for them. Not only was he doing it, they saw, but they were starting to do it. They were starting to do it as well. They picked up on what he was doing, and a lot of the other players were starting to get up earlier and meet Kobe in the weight room. And it goes back to what you're saying about him setting the tone, man. And he really was different. And it just kind of sad because, like, looking in today's league, you really don't see a lot of players that have that drive anymore. You know,
That's what it seems like. It's. I mean, it seems like the guys that do, you can kind of
you
tell.
can tell.
You can kind of tell the guys that want it,
And it shows on the
and then
court,
there's
man.
the other guys you can tell that don't. Yeah, you can tell on the court and the stat sheet. I mean, just basically, really, definitely on the court.
So I will say this. Any final notes for you on this topic about the aura of Kobe and his presence on that team?
Um, R.I.P. to the Mamba.
Rest in peace, man.
Just
Rest in peace.
rest in peace. Um, just definitely the whole leading by example. I mean, I think this team, how they put together this team, definitely Coach K knowing to bring in Kobe, when making that choice to bring in Kobe, just goes right back to the top of being able to pick the right guys.
Yep.
That was a very great choice to start with, and then you follow it up with LeBron James. I don't know how else you can mess it up if you have those two at the head of your team.
Yeah. No, you might as well just hand out the
I
gold.
Yeah, I mean, you picked two great leaders. I mean, I think no matter what, Kobe was going to put his ego aside and be that leader, and still be still be Kobe. I'm going to get up at 4 and I'm going to start working out. I'm going to be great. If you're going to follow suit, follow suit.
One thing I
If you
will
want to keep on
say,
clubbing till 4 a.m., go ahead.
I will say that about Kobe is that he would let you hear it and he would get in your head. And I will say, missed opportunity in this documentary, and I know you can atone to it, but they didn't mention anything about him trash talking and him knowing the other players' language because he was from Italy, so he could pick up on what these other players were saying and the trash talking he did. And I was surprised they didn't bring that up in the movie.
I wanted them to bring that up too. Like, I wanted like a clip of him actually talking back to one of the players. Like a mic'd up version, like just some mic'd up clip that has just surfaced from the dirt, from out of nowhere, of Kobe talking in Italy, Spanish or something to Pau, or just something. I was hoping for something like that too, because that was one thing that set him fully apart from everybody else on that Team USA squad. I don't think there was anybody else that spoke a different language other than him.
I think it was a missed opportunity for sure, and I was like you
Big
said,
time.
I was waiting for that mic'd up clip to come up of him talking trash to one of his opponents, but it never came up. But it's all right. We have those stories in legend now, and those will be passed down for sure.
True.
Final thought on this Kobe thing, and I want to hear your reaction on this, dude. How big he was in China, I couldn't believe it about how seriously an icon he was over there. It reminded me of watching the Dream Team documentary a couple of years ago about how it was when Jordan was in Barcelona and how he was treated over there, and Kobe got the same treatment when he was over there. China loved him, and I wanted to hear what you had to think about that because I guess I can't say I was shocked, but seeing like footage and stuff of it, I was shocked.
I mean, I was shocked. I mean, I figured he was big over there, but I didn't think he was like I mean, I don't even know how to really compare him to anything right now. I mean, he was like he was the best thing since the donut hole was invented, put it that way. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, you found out about toast. That was amazing. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't believe how big he was over there. I mean, I can believe it because, poor China and communism over there, but um I can see it because, social media just starting and technology starting to take off. Michael Jordan was on his way out. Who was the next guy up? Kobe Bryant,
Yeah,
At that time when we were kids walking to the trash can, we had a paper ball. What were we gonna shout out when we shot it?
exactly. Kobe.
Kobe.
Exactly,
I
man.
mean that's I mean shoot, I'm 25 years old going on 26 in a month. I still do that with anything I throw in the trash.
I think it's still gonna keep
I
happening, man. I don't think there's anybody in this
mhm.
generation right now where, I don't see anybody, at least yet, nobody's throwing a paper ball up in the trash can saying Luca or Giannis or anything like that. But
Curry,
Curry, yeah,
no, mm-mm.
yeah, no. But yeah, man, he was crazy, and China, they love basketball over there, man. I mean, there are more people that watch the NBA Finals over there than here in America. I mean, I know they have way more people, but that's just saying something about how big the NBA is over there, and just seeing all the fans and the admiration for Kobe, it was just so heartwarming and just amazing to see. Like it was like I don't know, man. I can't even explain it, but he was more than a celebrity over there.
Big time. I mean, it almost seemed you could almost from the way I took it, I mean, you could almost say that he was like a former president over there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, the way that that man was walking around and the way people were just like they said, a woman fainted right in front of Carlos Boozer and D Wade trying to get to Kobe Bryant. Like that would be insane. Like in person, like if you've seen that in person, just somebody faint because they're just trying to like meet you. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know if I'd wanna go in public, like, I'd be afraid to meet people if, like, I'm making people faint just by saying hello to you. I'd be a little a little scared, but at the same time, like, that's the man deserved it, though. I mean, it's hard to say that he didn't deserve that.
Well deserved. I can't argue with you at all, man. Well deserved. Any final notes here on the Kobe China celebrity status or anything like that with Kobe?
Um, I think them going over there, I think it definitely opened every other NBA player's eyes, like, I'm not this big star that I think I am. I think that I think that right there is what kinda knocked LeBron and D Wade down, like, you're a big star in America, but over here, this is the whole other side of the
It's
world.
the Kobe
They know one they know one name. They when it's come to basketball, there's one name that comes up, and it's the only name. If you say something else over here, everybody's gonna probably look at you weird.
show. Oh man, exactly, man. It was the Kobe show over there, and hearing the other teammates
Big
say
time.
that, about in China, it was all about Kobe. That was just really, really cool and modest to hear them say that. But I mean, they were telling the truth, man.
Mhm.
I have one more topic I want to talk about, but I want to save it towards the end. I just wanted to ask if there's anything you wanted to bring up before we kind of close out on this last topic.
Um, I think I mean, not to beat a dead horse, just going back to how Olympic play is different from NBA play. Do you, what? I guess like a maybe like a 2 3 part question. I mean, do you like Olympic play better, and do you think NBA play is kind of headed towards Olympic play? And if the NBA is kind of headed in that route, which I kind of think myself, I kind of think it is, which I like how it is, how the way the league is, but at the same time, it's kind of sometimes bull jive to watch because we're just watching teams chuck threes all the time.
So yeah,
Is
different.
like Olympic play kind of bad for basketball? I mean, not bad for I don't know how I'm really trying to ask the question
So
here.
I
It's
guess to
just
answer like the first part, do I like the Olympic basketball? There are aspects I like, and then there are aspects that I kind of don't like. So, I think the goaltending, the way they do it in the Olympics, it should be brought over to America. I just think the whole
yes,
cylinder, the ball over the cylinder is a little just crazy, or blocking shots.
yeah. I think that's bull jive.
Yeah, I do like that.
I like Olympic play for that.
Yep. The five fouls, I don't. I mean, it would definitely make it a lot harder, but I don't. I like the six fouls in the NBA.
I think 6 fouls is definitely right.
Um, I think there was another one. I think that I don't know if it's legit or not, but I don't know if they have the 3 second violation in the Olympic basketball.
I don't think they do have the 3 second call. And there was the one part where Carlos Boozer was explaining in practice to somebody. He was like, if if you're cutting in the lane, you can get in front of him and bump him and drive him off his way. Whereas in the NBA, you can't do that. And I sat here and I'm trying to think of what rule that is, and I don't even know what the hell he's really talking about.
I couldn't either when he brought that up, and I was a little confused. But to answer that first part, there are a couple things I do like, a couple things I don't. And the second part of your question, I do think that they're moving towards Olympic rules. I mean, you could just see it in this last, I think it's been 2 years now since they changed it, but no more of that pump fake and then jump into the player bullshit that they've been doing the pulling a James Harden or a Trey Young. They got rid of that. And I think because they kept doing it in the Olympics and they weren't getting calls for it, and maybe the Olympic Committee was telling the NBA, or maybe the NBA is like, yeah, well, this is bad for us. We should change it. And I do like that change because I was getting real sick and tired of that pump fake, do an unnatural shooting motion, and then just try to get some free throws. I that's not
Right,
basketball.
hook your arm into him and then just flop and flail your fucking
Yeah,
arms
to,
to draw
to me that's not
three free
basketball.
throws. Like, yeah, that's not basketball. I do like how they have taken that out. I I do like how the NBA is kind of has at least taken that out. I think that's what's made it. I think it's been 2 years now. I know for sure this season because I think it has been the last two.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this upcoming season will be going into its third season, I think.
I think so too. I
Um,
do like
but
it.
yeah.
I do like it.
Any final thoughts on this topic then, buddy?
Not really that I can think of.
All right. I think we'll close it out on this final topic slash question. Just kind of wanted to talk about the legacy of this team, and then what it really led to, right? So this, I would say, was probably the origin of the Banana Boat Squad, man. CP3, Melo, D Wade, LeBron, and I definitely know for fact that this was the origins of the big three in Miami, man. They had a lot of fun playing
Big
together
time.
on the Olympics and said, let's just run it to South Beach. So the legacy of this team, man, like all these future Hall of Famers that were on it, what happened on this team that led to future decisions. I just kind of wanted to hear some of your thoughts on the Banana Boat and the Miami Big Three and other stuff that I'm forgetting to mention.
I I thought it was just great being able to see, a young D Wade, a young Chris Bosh, right at that time when they formed that big three, it was at the start of like this is the Miami Heat that the people that, when we talk about the big three of the Miami Heat now, everybody's kind of like Chris Bosh, he sucks. D Wade, he's old,
Yeah.
Every people try and bring up D Wade on the Cavaliers, D Wade on the Bulls. No, I'm talking about D Wade on the Miami Heat. Like this D Wade was not this old man that everybody laughs at now. He was Flash. That man was called Flash for a reason. Bosh was Boshy.
Yep.
I mean, it was it was a whole different time. I mean, the nostalgia of of that time. Excuse me. Just forming that big three, and there was Kobe was in the prime of his career, and everybody's like, Kobe doesn't need to form a big three. Kobe will take them all down, and there was games between the Heat and the Lakers. Everybody had to see had to see that game, and I thought it was just great seeing it was the start of like the banana boat. You could definitely tell that from the start. It was the forming of those four. It was definitely those four that had this idea for this movie too. And if I had to rate it, I would give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. I'd rate it 10 out of 10 if it just had a little bit more, or at least one interview with Tim Duncan.
I
I just
I agree 100% with you. So I will also give it a 9 out of 10. So I will just say the only critique is we didn't get to see any Kobe trash talking in another language, and this might just be a little biased,
that
but
too.
no Tayshawn Prince, not even a clip of him talking, man. An elite defender back in
Now
the
that you
day.
actually mention that, that is a very good another one. Tayshawn Prince.
The
Like,
casuals or the young kids of today wouldn't know how locked down Tayshawn was back then, and how important he was.
and he was coming in. I think that was after his first year, which his first year when they won a championship. He was a rookie, wasn't he?
Yep.
That's what I thought. So he was only good. He was basically going into his second year, like you know, way back in '04, how it was for LeBron, D Wade, and Carmelo. So I feel like they kind of helped like a leadership role for Tayshawn, and that's what kind of made it gel easier for him to play the role he played on that team.
Yeah, I would say no Tayshawn. That just might be the Detroit Pistons fan inside me screaming. And then same thing with Tim Duncan. I would have liked to see, or even like Allen Iverson or some of the other, '04 players just saying, what didn't work. But I know this is about the Redeem team, but it might not be a worthy critique. But I'm with you. I would have liked to see like a little bit of Tim Duncan, even just a small clip of him, saying what didn't work and all that.
Right. I mean, even Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, I mean, Emeka Okafor. I bet a lot of people don't even know about him nowadays. Um, Richard Jefferson. I mean, Lamar Crackhead Odom. There was so many. There was so many great names on that '04 team. Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Carlos Boozer.
Bunch of
There
dogs.
was there was a lot of. I mean, so for that '08 team though, there was one player on that team. When they said his name, I sat here and I thought to myself, who the hell is that guy? And when did he get on the team?
Let me take a guess. Was it Michael Redd?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. That was one of the only players I don't remember. I remembered it before watching this because um I was playing this game a couple months ago where I had to I had to name every player on the Redeem team, and when I got to him, I said, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. And then as soon as I found out his name, I said, all right, I won't ever forget Michael Redd.
He said, I won't ever forget that one.
Well, bro, I want
I
to
thought it definitely opened my eyes.
yeah, I want to thank you for hopping on today. Like I said, I appreciate you recommending the Redeem team. Hell of a watch. If the viewers definitely worth a watch. It's a great story. Even for non-basketball fans, it's just a great story to watch and listen to. Like I said, Jake, I want to thank you for hopping on. And if you want to give out any shout outs right now is the time, buddy.
And thank you for having me, man. And just Jake from Bake Farm on Twitch and Twitter. Give me a follow. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button though on this video right here, right now. Gotta show the love and support to the man here. Appreciate you for having me, brother.
Anytime, man. And as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. And we will see you later.